Live from the CSI Outdoor Track and Field Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you into NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage. In our 2024 conference opener, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Mercy University Mavericks. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman alongside my broadcast partner, Nicholas Bavona. And Nick, this is the CSI Game of the Week. I did mistakenly say our Game of the Week was earlier in the week when we covered the Dolphins on Wednesday. That was our originally scheduled Game of the Week for the men. However, with the conference opener coming up just 2 days later, it was decided that game of the week, that is, would be moved until today. So the Dolphins host the Mavericks in their conference opener. Nick, you've gotten a look at this Dolphins team a bit earlier in the season. What are some of your takeaways from what you've seen from this Dolphins team early on, and what do they need to do to get into the win column today?
Well, first off, Joe, I mean, that game that we saw was certainly a candidate for Game of the Week, the way it went down. The 1-0 win for Bloomfield, and a game where the Dolphins unfortunately had a handball incident that led to a free kick penalty for Bloomfield. That got them the 1-0 victory late in that game. But what we saw in that game against Bloomfield also, we saw a lot of shots on goal for the Dolphins. I think they had around 21 shots in total. 8 were on net. So they certainly had plenty of opportunities to get one in the net. Unfortunately, great goaltending from Bloomfield got them that shutout victory. But we've seen the Dolphins, they're definitely frustrated, Joe, to start the season. Obviously, 2 one-goal losses to start the season. So not only are they looking to pick up their first win of the season here today, but they're also looking to pick up their first win in their team history against this Mercy team. They're 2-0-2. They're 0-2-2. Or I might say it the way wrong. Mercy's 2-0-2, as I should say.
Mercy leads the all-time series 5-0-2.
5-0-2. Thank you. So CSI is looking for that first win. You've seen a lot of good momentum for the Dolphins in these 2 games that they played, even with the 1-goal losses and getting those shots on net. But now it's going to come down to, can they capitalize on their opportunities to score like we saw on Wednesday?
Well, taking a look through the Dolphins' schedule, you already mentioned the game that was played earlier this week against Bloomfield on Wednesday. That was a 1-0 loss for the Dolphins. And as you said, Nick, it was a late handball call in the penalty area that resulted in a game-winning penalty kick for the Bears. That game did come to a thrilling conclusion as well, as Sean Fisherman sent a potential game-tying goal just over the crossbar as the final seconds ticked off the clock. As for CSI's first game, they surrendered a penalty kick in that game as well, falling by a score of 3-2 against Assumption University. As for the Mavericks, they come in with a record of 1-0-1, so they are unbeaten on the season. Earlier this year, they played East Stroudsburg to a draw. That was followed by a 2-0 win over Adelphi University on Tuesday, a bit earlier in the week than the Dolphins played the Bloomfield College Bears on Wednesday. So the Mavericks should come into this game very fresh. They have not played in 3 days, and that could potentially play to their advantage entering this matchup with the Dolphins. But, Nick, we don't often see conference play this early in the year. The women's soccer team will play Mercy later in the year, but the Dolphins and the Mavericks on the men's side get play started in the East Coast Conference very early. How important is it to get off to a good start in the conference? 6 teams do make the playoffs, but each of the last 2 years, we've seen the Dolphins battling for one of those last 2 spots on the final day of the season. They'd love to be in a bit more of a comfortable spot entering the season's final week later in October and November.
Yeah, I think even with the 0-2 start for CSI, you go into a game like this, and we all know how important conference play is for any sport here in this entire program. And if you could get your first win of the season, not only getting it today, but getting that first conference win, it gets you to a little bit of a head start in the conference standings as you go along in the season. And we saw last season for the Dolphins, they were able to squeak by and get one of those last final playoff spots. Unfortunately, had that tough playoff loss, but to get into that spot gives them some momentum going into this season. But now they need to come back and try to avoid an 0-3 start to the season. Obviously, do not want to have another instance what they had last game against Bloomfield where they had that late handball penalty. I think for CSI, Joe, the good thing that we've been seeing a lot, though, from them in the 2 games, they're getting a lot of shots on net. Some at least are on goal. If they are able to put it through the net and get some good goaltending, they'll have a chance to get this win and get a 1-0 start in conference play.
And speaking of the all-time series against Mercy and the Dolphins that you touched on earlier, the Mavericks do lead that all-time series 5-0-2 in terms of their record against the Dolphins all-time. But many of those games, 3 of them to be exact, were played before the year 1990. the other 4 coming since the Dolphins moved to NCAA Division II. The first of those games came the same year the Dolphins announced their Division II membership, so they did not have a Division II recruiting class as of yet. Despite that, the Dolphins put together a good effort in that game. They lost 1-0 in that 2019 matchup. The Dolphins have not scored a goal against Mercy since going D2, however. Each of the next 2 games were won, or I should say the next game was won by the Mavericks by a score of 2-0. They opened up their all-time series with the Dolphins as a D2 program with back-to-back wins. However, the last 2 seasons, neither team has scored a goal in the meetings between these 2 sides. So obviously, as spectators and fans of the sport, we're hoping to see that change. We would like to see some scoring today. The Dolphins obviously would like to get into the win column. The Mavericks, however, will look to stay unbeaten.
Yeah, and I think also for that last game against Bloomfield especially, obviously that game went scoreless for pretty much the entirety of that game up until that handball. But we even saw in the fading seconds of that game, the Dolphins had a chance to tie it up in the last 5 seconds. Unfortunately, the shot went over the crossbar and led to Bloomfield getting that win. So we should be in store for a very good contest. And obviously, we've already mentioned with the stakes being a conference game already early on in the season. There's a lot at stake early on for these 2 teams, and whoever you get the win today, even if you get a tie, you just want to get points at the end of the day for these 2 squads. So they have to make sure they come out on top with the victory, or at least salvage it with a tie in this one.
And you mentioned the shooting numbers for the Dolphins, Nick, and taking a look at their stats for the season, the numbers very even in terms of shots taken, shots allowed, shots on goal, and shots allowed. The Dolphins averaging 13.5 shots per game. They are allowing 14.5 shots per game. Meanwhile, in terms of shots on goal percentage, they are at about 48%. The same goes for the opposition. And, Nick, you said it. For this Dolphins team, much of the time this year, the difference has been putting quality chances into the net. The opportunities have been there. If they start to convert on those chances, their fortunes can change very quickly, and perhaps they will get into the win column here today if they can do that. But with starting lineups about to be introduced out on the field and the national anthem about to be played, we will step aside and take a break. You are watching NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage here on the ECC Network. This is our CSI Game of the Week as the Dolphins host the Mercy University Mavericks in their conference opener coming up next. We are back from the CSI Outdoor Track and Field Complex ahead of the start of today's game between the College of Staten Island and Mercy University. For both teams, this is their 2024 conference opener in East Coast Conference play. And before kickoff, we'll try and get you the starting lineups very quickly. First, for the visiting Mavericks. In numerical order, number 4, Julian Holland. Number 5, Jorgen Krohn-Pedersen. Number 8, Matteo Bacigalupo. Number 9, Johannes Hanken Jostim. Number 12, Matthias Schilbred Eriksson. Number 13, Marcel Dufault. Number 17, Martin Penafiel. Number 20, Antonio Sass. Number 25, Benjamin Van Buren. And number 30, Eric Elvestad. At the starting lineup for the Mercy University Mavericks, very quickly for the Dolphins in numerical order. 0, A.J. Montana. 7, William Lopez. 8, Brian Curlew. 9, Brendan McGuire. 10, Miguel Espinoza. 14, Karai Arslan. 15, Brian Garcia. 18, Badr Mesrar. 22, Anthony Benvenuto. 23, Joshua Zapata. And the recently eligible number 6, Gerald Sufaj, gets the start on defense for the Dolphins as well. This is his first game played here in the 2024 season.
And something to note, Joe, for the team that they're playing today in Mercy, Jostim, as you mentioned, is in the starting lineup, had both of the goals in Mercy's last win against Adelphi. So something that the Dolphins will have to look out for, a player certainly to mark out for in this game.
Here comes Miguel Espinoza. He had an early chance on Wednesday. His shot was blocked. And Espinoza then commits the foul. Tried to grab his marker on the way to that loose ball. But an early shot attempt for the Dolphins. Now, we do apologize for those who tuned in on Wednesday. After the game was over, I returned home to check out the broadcast, and unfortunately, our entire game was streamed using our sideline camera. That was not intentional. We did have a second camera angle wide up in the bleachers, and unfortunately, it was not brought to my attention until after the game. So we do apologize for that. We have 2 camera angles today. The sideline camera focused on the goal where CSI is shooting, and the wide camera shot. So any action in front of the Mercy goal, we'll have a closer look. We do not have a camera operator behind that camera today. Once again, this is Joe Foreman on the call alongside Nick Bavona for CSI Sportsnet. As the Dolphins turn it over, ball played through. Could be a chance here for the Mavericks. But Joe's team stumbled over the ball. He plays it back to Penafiel. He's taken down, and the foul is whistled against Joshua Zapata. Free kick for the Mavericks. Got a bit tongue-tied there.
It happens to the best of us, Joe. Happens to the best of us.
When you don't have your clipboard
That's true.
to anchor down your rosters and they're swaying in the wind, sometimes you stumble a bit trying to flip between pages.
Yeah, having to do our first game of the season for women's soccer with all those papers flying, try to do the PA announcements as the cross, it looked like right there, was nodded away from the Dolphins. But having to do those PA announcements with the wind and almost taking away all the papers we had was almost near catastrophe, even though we almost lost our tent also in that process.
With the paperwork in my hand, sometimes with the wind gusts, you're holding on for dear life. You don't want your rosters to end up on the pitch. Teams contesting for the ball in the midfield now. It is the Mavericks that come away with it. Quick turn by Sass, and a good challenge by Zapata. Here comes Espinoza back the other way, moving into the attacking third. This is Mesrar. Mesrar moving forward. Sends one into the box. It's headed in the air. McGuire, the nearest Dolphin. McGuire gets to it. And a whistle goes against McGuire for the body contact. And there is a Maverick down right now in the box following that collision with Brendan McGuire.
And they're going to stop the clock.
The clock will be stopped here, and we'll see if the trainer is waved on. Not sure yet if that will be necessary, but it looks like the collision saw one of the Mavericks take a shot to the face. That's Schilbred Eriksson. And look at that, my clipboard.
Right on cue.
Perfect timing. That is so much better. Free kick, Mavericks. Elvestad will take it. He plays it short. This is Van Buren. Van Buren over to Krohn Pedersen. Up the far side for Shilbrad Eriksson. Looking to work toward the center of the pitch was Martin. And now the Mavericks into the attacking third. Send one off a Dolphin. That was Garcia who denied the cross. And it will be a mercy throw. Martin, working backward, was able to find Defoe, and now in the box, that shot is on goal and in! Matteo Bacigalupo. With the strike, he puts it past A.J. Montana, and that developed quickly off of the throw as the Mavericks go in front 1-0.
Yeah, it just seemed as if quickly off of that throw-in, everything pretty much set up right there for the Mavericks, and it leads to that goal right there, and a quick start for Mercy in this game. Not even 5 minutes in, they have an early 1-0 lead.
That was a powerful shot from in close, a tough stop for any goalkeeper. And off the throw, the Mavericks wasted no time. Martin was initially forced to work backward off of the throw. He found a teammate, I believe that was Defoe, and then the ball played into the box onto the foot of Bacigalupo. He made no mistake on the shot, and the Dolphins trail 1-0 as the Mavericks give it away. Espinoza shoots wide, but a chance for the Dolphins to get even off the foot of Miguel Espinoza. And Nick, that goal, the first goal scored by either of these two teams when they faced one another in the last 3 seasons now.
Yeah, and it's early momentum start for this Mercy team getting that first goal of this game, especially in the timely fashion that they do it. So now early for this game for the Dolphins show. Now they're down 1-0, having to fight back. You saw Espinoza on that last possession put that shot near the net, but just missing a little bit wide.
Good ball there, forcing Zapata to clear it over the sideline. Always have to keep in mind, Nick, here at soccer, we are on the far sideline relative to the camera. Made that mistake probably once or twice already, but eventually we get it right. Throwing into the box, headed into a dangerous position, and Bacigalupo on the bicycle volley, making a bid for his second goal, but didn't get it cleanly, and it will be a Dolphins goal kick.
Always love seeing bicycle kicks when we see these soccer games, and almost a second goal right there for Mercy to put them up 2-0, but just goes a little bit wide left.
Hey, first and second now. Julian wins, we win the second. Come on, boys.
Goal kick sent out across the midfield stripe, and a strong header by Holland. But onto the foot of a Dolphin, and now Espinoza has some room. Mesrar up the near side. Arslan working toward the touchline. And wow, Nick, I thought
Dolphins
that was certainly a handball.
Yeah.
Unintentional, but on the slide, that 100% was contacted with the arm. And we saw the Dolphins victimized by the handball at the end of their last game. Very similar situation, obviously no intent there. There rarely is, as Mesrar now is pressured, and I think a foul was called before the ball rolled over the touchline. So the Dolphins are going to have a free kick in a dangerous spot here. We'll see where their attackers line up. It looks like near the center of the box.
It looks like Curlew is the one that's going to kick it away potentially for CSI. Maybe set up a crosser here. Try to get the Dolphins on the board in this game.
Curlew sprints past the ball. Mesrar sends it in, and it's easily cleared away by the Mavericks. Espinoza gets to it, no problem. Now Mesrar for Espinoza. Espinoza for Mesrar in the corner. That was crossed off a Maverick, and a chance in close for the Dolphins comes up empty. The nearest attacker was William Lopez.
I'm going to see, Joe, if we have a clear-cut view of that potential missed call with the handball that we saw earlier on.
I'm going to say probably not. I don't think that's in the range of our camera, but you can check, as that ball's a bit too strong.
It's close to tell. We didn't get a bad view of it, I can tell you that. We didn't get a bad view of it. We had a decent view of it on the wide shot. I think if you zoom in a little bit, you could probably tell if it does contact the hand or not.
On a TV, you'd probably have a great look. Now, the question is, and I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, was that in the box? I would think yes.
Let me say that one more time. Yeah, it was.
That's a big call.
We saw that play factor. You mentioned it at the last game with Bloomfield. That obviously was the difference maker in that game.
I think when you look back to that game against Bloomfield, obviously the headline, and I wrote the headline, so I would know, the headline's going to highlight that late penalty kick and then, of course, the call that led to it, a huge call. But if you ask the Dolphins after that game, they'll say that they shouldn't have been in that position,
right,
and that they should have had at least one goal, if not more, on the board already. Long throw here for the Mavericks, headed into a dangerous spot by the Dolphins. Multiple players waiting for it to come down. Espinoza comes out of the pack with some speed.
And he'll get the foul called.
He's fouled, and a yellow card is shown. Now, you hate to pick up the yellow, as the Dolphins will have to play it again. Now, that's a yellow you don't mind. Obviously, you don't want to pick up the card, but with Espinoza moving forward, Mesrar joining him, making a run down the center of the pitch, that's a foul you're okay with. Obviously, you don't want the yellow card to come from it.
Yeah, and CSI obviously was trying to go quickly after that yellow card was issued, but obviously cannot do that, so had to wait a couple seconds, now try to set something up here. But an early yellow card for the Mavericks now, so they're going to have to be very attentive to that.
If there was no booking there, I think the Dolphins may have gotten away with that, but that was very quickly that they played that ball following the whistle. Mavericks applying a lot of pressure here. Bench directly to our left, urging their team to press. Sufaj nearly did a good job to escape there, could not.
And that press worked because now it forces a throw in on the other side, so they'll look to set something up, try to get this early 2-0 lead.
Another Mercy throw in. They try and take it long, but the wind just won't allow that. You can hear it over our microphones. And once again, Mercy will throw in.
We saw the wind kind of play a factor in the first game of the season for the women's soccer team, so we'll have to see maybe if that plays a factor into this game.
Another long throw into the wind. A good one. It found the foot of an attacker in Sas. And the cross emphatically rejected by Lopez. Another Mercy throw coming up here. Again, they take it long. Curlew gets ahead on it. But Dufault sends it right back to his teammate, who then crosses it into the arms of A.J. Montana. Benvenuto, moving forward outside of his own penalty area, finds Zapata. Zapata. From McGuire off the heel to Espinoza, give and go. McGuire giving chase. And good awareness there by Crone Pedersen, as that was a beautifully executed series of passes by the Dolphins, just a bit too strong on that final ball from Espinoza.
Yeah, CSI almost got a great opportunity right there. Espinoza setting that one up, but just missing it a little bit wide, and now we see that shot, potentially, if it was a shot, blocked.
I think it certainly was, and I picked up on that as well. Mesrar's cleat fully untied. McGuire for the corner. Mesrar is there. He circles toward the ball along the touchline. Has Arslan, but Arslan sent that off of another body. It stayed in play, and he will chase it down. That ball sent toward the box, cleared away by the Mavericks. Curlew with a nice play, but his ball for Espinoza too strong.
Dolphins forcing a lot of good pressure on that possession right there, Joe, and that's what they need to do if they want to get back into this game. And we've seen that a lot so far for them in this season. They're forcing a lot of pressure, and we mentioned the shots that they've gotten so far through the first two games. So you do like to see them getting that aggressive and trying to get those shots on net. Now the question is going to be, can they get that first goal and tie this game?
They made a bid there on the attempted through ball for Espinoza, but Mavericks defense all over it. Mavericks attempted a through ball of their own right there, just off the mark. Bench liked it. And now the Dolphins look to attack the other way. Throw in here for the Mavericks coming up. Throw along the near side. Ended up in a massive body as the Dolphins come away with possession. Espinoza wanted the ball.
Antonio, leave it. Antonio, leave it. Antonio, drop. Antonio, drop.
The ball does find Espinoza. Right along the midfield stripe, he works forward. Looking for Arslan, that pass too strong.
So far early on, a couple of the Dolphins' passes have been a little bit too much on that have led to some of these throw-ins for Mercy. So definitely things that they certainly can fix as this game goes along. But just like I mentioned, they're being aggressive so far with their passing as well as their shots taken.
Talk about aggressive. That was some strike, and McGuire won't get there. Goal kick Mavericks here.
Just at the 31-minute mark here in this first half.
Van Buren sends one across midfield and right onto the foot of Martin. Martin ahead for Shilbrett Eriksson. He looks to cross. He has a man, and the Mavericks have the goal. 2-0 Mercy. Johannes Hankin Jostin off a nice feed to set him up. Shilbrett Eriksson with the assist. And the Mavericks lead it by a pair.
And you could not have drawn that up any better if you were Mercy right there, Joe. A perfect setup pass that leads to Joe's team's goal. And I mentioned he had 2 in his last game now. Here, once again, gets a goal. 3 in his last 2 games. And then Mercy, already not even 15 minutes into this first half, has a 2-0 lead.
The first shot, a strong one from in close, leaving Montana without much of an opportunity to make the save. And once again on that last chance, an attacker set up in close, this time right on the doorstep. And Joe's team made no mistake.
Contain, no foul. Talk. Start talking more, boys.
Dolphins
Elevate.
now face a 2-goal deficit. Espinoza along the far side. Plays it into the box. Lopez the nearest attacker, but that ball too far out in front of him into the arms of Elvestad.
You got to wonder, Joe, what's the sense of urgency right now for CSI already being down 2-0 in this game? Still a lot of time to go, but obviously not the way you want to start this game 15 minutes in, as there's a foul called.
Hey, turn.
But being down 2-0, certainly going to be a tall task to climb up if they want to get back into this game.
And something that I wanted to highlight before this game is that even though the Dolphins come in 0-2 off a couple of tough losses, they were very much in both of those games. We mentioned that. But you can put both of those losses in the rearview mirror with a win today as Espinoza moves in. McGuire found a way to get it to him. We'll see which way this throw is going. And I think it's going to be a Dolphins throw-in, but Dolphins can very quickly erase the memory of those first 2 games with a win here today, and obviously you would have liked to get off to a much better start.
It was a Mercy throw-in on that one, Joe, so it went off, I believe went off at Espinoza or McGuire on that play.
This will be a Dolphins throw-in. Lopez for Mesrar. He moves forward. Taking his time along the sideline. Lopez onside. They certainly were looking for the offsides, Nick. That ball redirected straight onto the foot of Martin.
Foul will be called.
Lopez commits the foul with the body there. Looked like he turned his hip into the attacker. That was Sass. Penafiel being forced toward the corner. Now trapped along the sideline. And that ball took a great mercy bounce. They're in business here. And Benvenuto with the tackle dispossessed by Sigalupo, leading to another Mavericks throw-in. Long throw again. Bodied away by the Dolphins. Now a cross in front, cleared by Curlew. McGuire played it with the body. And it's a good thing that ball wasn't lower.
Yeah. We saw last game, we had the scoreboard taken out because of a ball that was hit towards us. So thankful that one went over our tent.
I'm very thankful. Long throw taken by Luis Asensio Cueva, who just checked in.
We saw him a bunch last season for this Dolphin squad.
First time we've seen him here this year. Ball up the near side. Was deflected out of play by the Dolphins.
And obviously, when you make a substitution like that, you're trying to get some kind of spark off the bench. You're already trailing 2-0 in this game.
Throw taken short by the Mavericks. This is Van Buren. Defoe sends it over to Crone Pedersen, who moves across midfield. Now Shilbrett Erickson up the near side. He has Basigalupo, who was dispossessed. And here come the Dolphins. And a foul was called against Staten Island. Suffage had the takeaway, but was then whistled for the foul. Once again, Van Buren sends it across midfield and over the touchline out of play. Dolphins will throw as they move Garcia back here.
Julian, step up! Julian, step up!
Garcia for Curlew. Curlew back to Benvenuto. Benvenuto moving ahead.
Now, go to the ball. Pressure the ball.
Asensio Cueva for Lopez. His pass intercepted
All right.
and then headed back the other way by Benvenuto. Mesrar contested for the ball in the midfield. And he commits the foul. Defoe taken down on that last whistle.
Matthias is wide open. Matthias is wide open.
Ball sent up ahead to Sass.
Called
He's
offside.
offsides.
Hold it in. Not you, Martin should have went to Matthias.
Free kick will be taken by Montana, Dolphins goalkeeper.
Guys, we got to win the second one here.
Inside of 24 minutes to go in this first half. Series of headers and possession ultimately won by the Dolphins. Pass into a tight window, sees Espinoza go down. Curlew had it on his foot for a moment. He is still trying to keep it, and finally it's taken from him. But Mesrar comes over and is fouled. It will be a free kick for Staten Island. Mesrar looking for Espinoza. Good ball. And Espinoza sends it wide. Huge chance there for the Dolphins as Miguel Espinoza was set up on a great ball. Mesrar took the free kick very quickly. And Espinoza doesn't come up empty on many of those.
Yeah, a big fortunate for Mercy right there, Joe, as a great setup pass. Espinoza was right in front of the net, had an opportunity to get that first goal of the game for CSI, but just went far right, as you mentioned, and would have given CSI a big jolt of life, pulse of life, getting that first goal in this game as they still trail by 2.
I think if you're the Dolphins, obviously you can't allow the next goal, but you'd love to get one before halftime. The Mavericks, however, were threatening there for just a moment. Now the Dolphins have an opportunity to counter. Mesrar redirects for Asensio Cueva. Ball up ahead for Espinoza, taken away.
Almost redirected it to you for a second.
I'm fairly close to the sideline. In fact, I think I'm the closest one.
Yep. I believe offside was called on that one, so free kick coming out for CSI.
Joe's team couldn't believe it. Sufaj headed for the midfield stripe. Has Lopez. Lopez from Mesrar. He wanted Espinoza, that ball off target. Curlew contesting Holland. He sends it away. Benvenuto sends it into the air now. It's loose in the midfield. And Mesrar comes away with the interception. Espinoza moving in toward the box. And he lost it. Ball up the near side, giving chase is Jostine. He's waiting for some help on the attack. Ball played into the box, cleared away. Sas ahead. Asigalupo. Nearly dispossessed. He's taken down. Still shielding Asensio Cueva off the ball. He gets rid of it. Martin. Good tackle by Mesrar. He nearly got his hand on the ball there on the follow-through. That's off the heel of the official. And the Dolphins are allowed to continue play. Garcia up the near side. Now Arslan for Garcia. He races toward the touchline. And he was able to send it off a Maverick. So Dolphins are awarded a corner kick here. And we'll see who lines up to take it. It looks like Lopez is headed over now. Curlew, typically the Dolphin in position, should the corner taker choose to play it short, and he will. Curlew's cross gets through, and Benvenuto was the nearest Dolphin. He had a big chance there, and the ball skipped past his foot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, did they call it off of Mercy? Is that going to be a throw-in for CSI? It looks like to be the case, but a very close call right there once again for Mercy, Joe. And again, the Dolphins were just short of getting that first goal of the game.
Dolphins had their chances on Wednesday as well. Failed to score. Feels like they just need one. The worst way right now is that's deflected in the box and cleared away by the Mavericks. Sufaj waiting at midfield. He has it. Garcia from Mesrar and back to Montana. Montana for Benvenuto. Benvenuto up ahead. His pass headed toward the sideline, out of play. And once again, it will be a Dolphins throw. Taken quickly. Curlew. It's chipped in the air and headed by the Mavericks. Benvenuto waiting. Sends it back to Sufaj. Mesrar for Montana. Montana taking his time. This is Sufaj now. to the midfield. Being given some space here. He plays it up the near side. Will it stay in? It will. That's deflected. And nearly a chance there for the Dolphins. The ball still loose. And Arslan crosses to nobody. Espinoza, the nearest Dolphin. But the Dolphins now beginning to make some headway on the attack. They didn't get much early in this game. They've had a couple of chances now these last few minutes. And they just need to put one into the net.
Yeah, that aggressiveness that we talked about early on in this game, we've seen in the last couple of minutes for CSI. And they've got their opportunities in these last couple of minutes as well, have just not been able to put one on the net so far.
That ball sent into the air.
Foul called on the Dolphins.
Asensio Cueva, the guilty party.
Come on, pick up the intensity. Let's go, play simple. Come on, simplify the game. Come on.
Free kick Mavericks coming up here.
Matias now, Ben. Matias now, Ben.
Just about to hit 17 minutes left here in this first half.
Stumbling along the sideline was Martin. He gets it away. Now Dufault. Back to Krohn Pedersen. That was Van Buren who plays it to the near side. Shilbrett Eriksson up ahead for Holland. Holland redirected it right to Curlew. Curlew looks to accelerate up the near side, has Arslan. Arslan beats his marker, avoiding the challenge, and now the Dolphins are moving forward into the attacking third. Espinoza plays it off his heel, moving ahead slowly. He works toward the center of the pitch, wanted Asensio Cueva, but a good defensive play stifled that pass. Penafiel with a nice play to break up that attacking play. And now the Mavericks look to move forward. Sliding tackle results in a handball called.
Was he in the box?
He was not. He was not.
Read that, man. Once Matias goes, you gotta cover.
That's the right call, Nick. That was the right call. Dolphins bench will contend that one was missed earlier. But that certainly was the right call. We can see it from here.
Get a second look on the replay. Great slide tackle nonetheless, but unfortunately just hits the hand, leading to the handball right there.
And Nick, I think that was very similar to the play we saw earlier. I think that they did miss one earlier, in my opinion. They did not miss that one.
Even though it isn't in the box, Joe, it's still a very good opportune time here for Mercy to probably put one on net, try to get their third goal.
There's just so much you can do here in this position. Dolphins with a wall of 5. And it will be a shot attempt and a goal. A consequential call on the handball affords the Mavericks a free kick. And once again, Johannes Hankin Joosteen with the goal has put Mercy ahead by 3. That is his second of the match.
And now 4 in his last 2 games. But you saw on that one, Joe, the fake for the first shot attempt, and then Joosteen was the one that put it on net. And always tough for a goalie, obviously, with that brigade that's in front of you, trying to look at to see where the ball is going to come towards the net. And for Montana right there, just was not able to track it down. And once again, it's now a 3-0 lead on Joosteen's second goal of this game.
Well, if you're the Mavericks, you can't ask for a much better start to conference play than this. Even after the Dolphins put together some solid attacking play the last few minutes, it is the Mavericks that ultimately scored the third goal of this match. Throw in Mavericks here. Mavericks now have it in the midfield. Ball rolling toward the near side. Martin was pressured. And I think we're going to have a Staten Island throw-in.
And I think now more imperative, Joe, for the Dolphins. They really could use a goal before the end of this first half. Down 3, going to be really tough to come back from a 3-goal deficit in just one half to do so. So if they can get one on at least, maybe a 2-goal deficit is still not great, but it isn't as bad as this current 3-0 deficit.
I'll have to pull up our live stats to confirm. But if you take a look at this game, Dolphins have had probably 2 or 3 good chances. One great chance for Espinoza, and you can make a case that the Benvenuto attempt that rolled past his foot was also a great chance. That ball was right in front of him.
Yeah.
But you can make the case the Dolphins have had at least 2 good chances, maybe 2 great chances. The Mavericks in this game have also had, what would you say, 3 great chances? They've converted on all 3.
Yeah.
So that's the difference right now.
And remember, that's what CSI was talking about when they mentioned it to you about that last game, where obviously, yes, the handball played a factor, but the Dolphins had those great chances to get a goal and avoid that from, avoid that loss from happening. And you could certainly think that they're in that same situation here today where, yes, they're down 3, but they certainly believe that it should at least be a 1-goal deficit because they had 2 really good opportune chances on this side of the pitch.
Well, I'm not sure if we got a look at that second chance on replay earlier. How close was it?
It was very close.
Very close.
Yeah.
I thought so.
He was right in front of the net pretty much. If he gets maybe he gets a toe on it, he probably gets it in the net. Just a game of inches sometimes. That's what it really comes down to.
Dolphins without much margin for error the rest of the way now, trailing by 3 goals. But at the very least, if there's anything positive to take away from this first half, it's that they have had chances again. It's going to be a Staten Island throw in here. Garcia. Back to Sufaj. Now Benvenuto. Moving forward toward midfield. Has Espinoza. He sends it back to Sufaj. Garcia. Sufaj. Benvenuto. Had his pass broken up. Here comes Dufault moving forward. Plays a man through. That cross was blocked. Once again, the Mavericks threatening around the penalty area. Martin's shot was blocked. Dolphins get some relief there. That ball sent toward the box. The nearest attacker, Santiago Dutil. Dutil was the recipient on the through ball earlier during that attacking play up the far side. And now the Mavericks are going to make 3 substitutions.
These 3 substitutions come in now with under 11 minutes to go in this first half. The Mavericks lead this one 3-0.
Armand Burke checks in for the Mavericks, along with Santiago Serrano. And I believe the final Maverick to check in was number 19. I want to make sure I pronounce his name correctly. That is Mateo Azabuja.
You saw that once again, Joe. Dolphins trying to set up Espinoza, but once again, a good job by the Mavericks intercepting that pass as a lead to, it looks like a mercy throw-in right here.
We spoke about the chances the Dolphins have had to put shots on goal in this game, and one of the chances I didn't mention was when Espinoza was moving in. He just mishandled the ball as he tried to dribble past a challenge. He was frustrated with himself. It looked like he thought he should have been able to beat his man and get a shot off. Instead, he lost the ball. Curlew still has it here. And now Asensio Cueva has Espinoza. Espinoza dispossessed, but the Dolphins will earn a throw. And CSI will make a pair of substitutions. Julie Deplin and Daniel Sakira will check in. Asensio Cueva to throw in. We're inside of 10 minutes to go in this first half. And that will be a Mavericks throw. Ball chipped in the air. Asensio Cueva with it. It now rolls toward the center of the pitch. Deplin there waiting. Garcia. Back to Sufaj. Now Benvenuto for Mesvar. Asensio Cueva works across the midfield stripe. Arslan denied the turn. And it will be a Dolphins throw. I almost had my first touch, Nick. Ball came to rest about a foot away from me. Comes Garcia across midfield. Looking for Curlew. That pass partially broken up. Curlew on the sliding tackle, hoping to find the foot of an attacker. Could not, but the Dolphins do keep it. Mesvar wanted Sakira. This ball for Arslan sees him offsides.
Up and in, up and in, up and in.
Halberstad will take the free kick. We approach 7.5 minutes to go before halftime. Long free kick by the Mavericks goalkeeper. Asensio Cueva got a foot on it, and now Sakira looks to accelerate forward. This is Garcia for Sakira. Curlew. Sakira. And now Sufaj. He sends one toward Deplin in the corner. Doesn't get to him, but Curlew able to help CSI maintain possession and draw a foul.
Under 7 minutes now to go in the first half. CSI trying to get something, at least make this a 2-goal deficit going into halftime.
Asensio Cueva toward the touchline for McGuire. That ball too strong. Dolphins applying some pressure here. And Halberstad calmly sends it into the midfield. Joe's team wanted on Zabuja there. Did get it to him. This is Mesvar for Asensio Cueva. McGuire had it on his foot. He's dispossessed, but the Dolphins will throw. Short throw. Asensio Cueva tried to get it to one of his backs. Instead, the Mavericks intercept in the midfield. Burke plays it back to Krone Pedersen. Now Shilbred Eriksson plays it ahead on the far side. Serrano had Joe's team with some room, but the Dolphins closed the space quickly. Asensio Cueva. Back to Benvenuto. And now Sufaj. Sakira on the redirect. Played it toward McGuire, but it never got to him. Now the Mavericks look to move up the near side. Dutiel was dispossessed. And the Dolphins move forward on the attack. Sakira for Deplin. Crossed. And sent over the touchline by Van Buren. Corner kick Dolphins.
We saw how close the last corner kick came for CSI. Almost led to their first goal. Let's see if we get something here.
Dolphins play the corner short. Sakira gives it back to Curlew. Now he has space. And he fires one in front. Once again, the Mavericks concede the corner, but Nick, looking at that ball from Curlew, it looked like he was trying to send that one off a Maverick and perhaps in. There weren't many Columbia Blue jerseys in the area.
Trying to get a redirect right there to get that first goal, but the Dolphins once again here will play it short. Maybe, maybe not.
That's sent toward the far post, but Not a good corner.
Guys, that's too easy. Come on, guys. Come on, Mercy. Close it out. Finish the
4
house.
minutes
Go.
now to
Come
go
on,
in the
boys.
first.
Goal kick Mavericks coming up here.
Up and in. Here we go.
Dolphins,
First and second ball
head of
will
that
win.
corner, have been
First and
relatively
second.
quiet
Come on, Mercy.
for
Let's
about
go.
10 or 15 minutes there. That ball headed in the midfield onto the foot of Dutiel. Curlew has the takeaway, but the Mavericks get it back. Burke tried to play a man through. That was Azambuja. And now Curlew crosses the midfield stripe, has Deplin. Deplin works toward the center of the pitch and was fouled. Free kick Dolphins here, and CSI will move some of their backs forward. Short kick, and the Dolphins will reset. Benvenuto for Asensio Cueva. Now Mesrar. Mesrar works toward the center of the pitch, comes to a stop, and plays it toward the corner. But Deplin is flagged for offsides. Just over 2 minutes to go in this first half. Dolphins trail 3-0. This is their largest deficit of the season thus far. Free kick, a long one into the attacking third, headed by the Dolphins. Curlew played it with the body, but he stumbled. And it looked like he may have been taken out by his own man.
Looked like they were looking for a handball once again.
Dolphins failed to clear as that shot is blocked. Second attempt is high. The first shot by Dutiel was blocked, and Holland was nearly the beneficiary. He sent one over the crossbar.
Missed it by just a few inches, as I mentioned, Joe. It's always a game of inches when it comes to these type of games, and almost a 4-0 lead for Mercy on that shot right there.
It goes without saying, Nick, if the Dolphins couldn't afford to allow the third goal, they certainly cannot afford to allow the fourth.
So we now have 1 minute to go now in this first half.
1 minute remaining.
1 minute before halftime, and the Mavericks may get another chance here. That shot blocked again. This time it was Serrano. He had room. Was set up by a nice ball. Now the Dolphins hope for one last opportunity. Deplin commits the foul.
So that will probably give Mercy the final opportunity here in this first half to try to set up something with 30 seconds to go.
Ball sent across midfield into the attacking third. 12 seconds to go in the half.
10, 9,
There's a takeaway. Dutiel.
6,
And the flag goes up for
4,
offsides.
3, 2,
So
1.
Azambuja had a chance there had he been onside to put a cross into a very dangerous position. Instead, the half ends with the flag up from the official. And as we reach the halftime break, the Mavericks lead the Dolphins 3-0. This is coverage of the 2024 Men's Soccer Conference Opener and our CSI Game of the Week. More to come following the halftime break.
And we're back here for the second half between the Mavericks and the Dolphins here. A 3-0 lead for Mercy in this one. And the CSI Dolphins will try to get back into this game, the first conference game of the season for both of these squads. As Mercy will kick it away. The second half has begun. Another 2-goal game for Joestown after getting 2 goals in his last game for the Mavericks in their win over Adelphi. As Dolphins will try to avoid falling down even further. Dolphins certainly had a lot of good opportunities in that first half to get on the board, but just missed a couple shots right there, as well as getting a couple of missed timely passes as foul was called on the Dolphins. It will lead to a free kick coming up for Mercy right here. Schubert Erickson will be the one to kick it away. Sends it on net. And it'll be kicked away by the Dolphins. And the Dolphins will be able to clear it away. Now they'll look to get something going. Once again, another opportunity here for Mercy. And the Dolphins once again will be able to clear it away, as now they get to the other side of the pitch trying to get their first goal of the game.
Come on, too easy. Check your shoulders.
Just a moment, I'll be rejoined by my broadcast partner, Joe Foreman. Gives me the thumbs up, he's good to go. And Joe, welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you, Nick. Had to help with the second half starters every once in a while. It takes a team effort to get the 11 bodies tracked down and input into our stats program. You think it'd be a bit easier from down on field level, but I think it's a little bit harder.
Well, I think when you're in the huddle, you know, you're kind of like circled up with your teammates. It's kind of tough to get all the numbers in a timely fashion. So once they break away from their huddle, you have to do it very, very quickly and get order ready to start the second half.
Dolphins trail 3-0 in this game. Mavericks struck early and have not looked back since. The Dolphins did have some chances in that first half, but I believe officially they finished with maybe 3 shots. I'm going to check our live stats right now. The internet out here, not the greatest. I try and leave the Wi-Fi for our broadcast, but checking out the live stats, Dolphins finished the first half with 5 shots, so more than I thought. Espinoza alone had 3. None of those shots were on goal.
Heads up, Joe.
Well, I almost got my first touch again. Instead, our tent kept that ball from reaching my foot. Too close for comfort, Nick. Suffage over to Benvenuto. Asensio Cueva right back to Benvenuto, and now Suffage. Ball redirected in the midfield. Curlew toward the near side. Arslan. And that will earn the Dolphins a corner. And we've seen that several times already, where the Dolphins have elected to play the ball into some heavy traffic, keeping it low to the turf as they look to cross in the box, but that hasn't really generated them a shot opportunity yet.
It's going to be their 5th corner of the game.
And it's a pretty good one. Arslan got ahead on it, but did not put it on goal. This is Garcia given some space. He wants Benvenuto, and that ball was too strong. I don't think that duo was on the same page there.
Up and in, up and in.
kick sent a long way, well beyond midfield, headed by Curlew. Burke left it for Shilbrett Erickson, and the Dolphins are whistled for a foul. Free kick Mavericks. And it looks like many of the Mavericks are lined up with that far post ahead of this free kick.
Looks like they're playing into a factor of the wind, maybe taking a carry on the ball.
Bending ball toward that back post and over the bar. High arcing header there, non-threatening chance. And the Dolphins will have a goal kick.
You saw Mavericks trying to angle that last shot by putting all their players towards the right side of the net. That header just goes over the crossbar. It leads to a Dolphin goal kick right there.
Benvenuto up the near side. Asensio Cueva back to Benvenuto. Suffage. Garcia right back to him. That's sent to Deplin. Deplin with the heel wanted Mesrar, but a foul was called. And it will be a Dolphins free kick. Benvenuto working forward. That ball partially deflected, and the Dolphins forced to play it all the way back to their goalkeeper here. Benvenuto headed by McGuire for Arslan. Arslan has some space. He works toward the edge of the box. And I think that was probably a shot attempt that was blocked. Ball along the touchline, sent it to the midfield. Benvenuto there waiting. Benvenuto wanted Asensio Cueva, but they were not on the same page either. And it's going to be a throw-in for the Mavericks. Curlew got a foot on it, has it back now, gets tangled up, managed to keep possession, and now Mesrar has it. He works toward the center of the pitch, sends a ball up ahead to McGuire. McGuire has a step. He shoots, it's saved. Deplin on the follow, sends it wide.
Good chances right there from CSI. They're certainly happy that they at least were able to get those chances right there. And we've seen a bunch of times in this game, Joe, that they've gotten some opportunities. But a great stop right there from Mercy keeps this a 3-0 lead for them.
I think we probably had a very good look at that one as well on the replay. Perhaps both shots. Deplin may have had a bit more time on the follow, but he had a good look at it and sent it wide of the frame. Meanwhile, a great ball set McGuire up as well. It was Mesrar on that pass. This time, McGuire has his pass intercepted, looking for Deplin. Curlew with the takeaway. And he has Asensio Cueva.
You got to think also with the 3-0 lead that Mercy already has, you probably park the bus a little bit more and play a lot more defensively in this scheme of things for the second half and try to maintain your lead.
We could hear it during the first half. Their bench warned against complacency. Even when they were ahead by a couple of goals, they wanted them to play as if it was still a scoreless game. Perhaps that changes a bit later in this one, but Dolphins with just inside of 40 minutes left, trail by 3 goals. And we've said it, Nick, they've had their chances. Not as many as the Mavericks, but enough where they certainly could have a goal or two up there on the board. That cross is broken up, and the Mavericks will earn a corner kick.
It's going to be the first corner of the game for Mercy right here, as they look to try to attack and add to their lead.
Shilbrett Erickson will take it. Moving in close, Joey Dos Santos. Corner, a good one. And it just went over Joe's team. And
It's going to be another corner coming up for Mercy right here, Joe. Get off of one of the Dolphins.
over Joe's team and past Holland, who was waiting on that back post. But a good ball, which will set up another corner. This time the right-footed Dos Santos will take it. He's flanked by Shilbrett Erickson, who now works toward the box. Cross on its way. And it trickles toward the top of the penalty area. Left-footed shot is high. And the Dolphins will have a goal kick following a CSI substitution.
Two good opportunities right there for Mercy as well to try to add to their lead. A good job by CSI to block that first attempt on the cross, and then that second shot goes over the net to lead to the goal kick for the Dolphins.
Miguel Espinoza back in, replacing Brendan McGuire. Very quickly, the Dolphins looking to generate a chance. Espinoza had it knocked away, and immediately following a pair of corner kicks at one end, we have a corner at the other end. Taken immediately, taken short. And the cross in front finds a Maverick. Mesrar has it now. Wanted Deplin, but he has Sakira instead. Deplin sends one toward goal. Arslan was there, and I think he overran it. Ball along the touchline, sent a mile high. Benvenuto waiting. Now Asensio Cueva. Through Espinoza. And the Mavericks finally have it. That ball cleared into the midfield by Elvestad. Benvenuto waiting. We'll let it roll all the way to Montana.
Viewers are going to see a second look at that last sequence for the Dolphins right there. Two good chances, especially on that last one where Deplin was trying to set up potentially with that crosser right there.
That ball intended for Deplin, partially deflected, but Deplin has some space. Espinoza lets it roll. Arslan shot blocked. And another Dolphins corner is coming up. Dolphins now with a nice flurry here these last couple of minutes. But they need to generate a goal from one of these chances with time continuing to tick off the clock. Just over 32 minutes to play here in the second half. Dolphins need a goal, and they need it quickly. Espinoza lining up to take the corner. That's sent toward the near post and cleared away by Holland. It's a foot race up the near side. Curlew jockeying for position against Azambuja. And it's cleared over the sideline for a Mavericks throw. Mercy throw-in coming up here. Dos Santos will take it.
Why are you guys not in? It's our sub. You should have been asking for a sub. There's a horn or something. It's our ball.
That ball into the box in a dangerous spot and directed in. Once again, it is Joe's team. That is his third of this match, and off a long throw, the Mavericks have gone in front by 4 goals.
Yeah, the quintessential hat trick right there for Joe's team. Now 5 goals in his last 2 games, Joe. I mean, he's just having himself an unbelievable week for this Mavericks squad, and now a 4-0 lead here in this second half.
Well, if you're the Mavericks, things could not have gone much better to start this game. The Dolphins, the last few minutes, controlled possession and generated some opportunities, but no goals to show for it. And the Mavericks, seemingly every chance they have managed to convert. And they now lead by 4.
And if you look at the goals that they scored as well this game, Joe, pretty much every goal has been assisted on, and it has been a perfect pass to set up all of the 4 goals that they've gotten in this game. So it's been a job well done for Mercy in this one. as it looks like they potentially are on their way to a 1-0 start in conference play.
Should they hold on and ultimately win this game, they will also remain unbeaten on the year. Came in 1-0-1, looking to move to 2-0-1. They've never lost to the Dolphins. And that will also end a streak of consecutive draws at 2 straight years in the matches between these two teams. Scoreless ties each of the last 2 seasons when these teams have met. That pass intercepted by Holland, works along the touchline. Joe Steen tried to send one in front. Could have even taken a shot for his 4th goal there.
Looks like there's a little bit of miscommunication between him and his teammate on that pass.
Mesrar. Deplin. Deplin moving in. Has Espinoza. And his shot is just wide. Another chance for the Dolphins. And they failed to put a shot on goal. Espinoza, with a decent look at it, had to get into that shot quickly and just couldn't put it on target.
Another one just going wide for the Dolphins right there, Joe. And it's unfortunately been a story of this game. The Dolphins just missed a couple shots on net that would have gotten them a couple of goals in this game as they still trail by 4.
Garcia looking for somewhere to go with it. Now Sufaj moving ahead slowly. Sends it up the pitch. Waiting for it there was Crone Pedersen. Ball sent toward the corner and forced to let it roll was Serta. Serta recently checked in for the Mavericks as Deplin is pressured. And the Dolphins earn a throw. Throw toward Deplin, the nearest Dolphin anyway, and that's sent in the air again. Serta sprinting up the sideline, nearly got to it. And the Mavericks do earn a throw-in. Have to like the effort you've seen from Mercy playing with the sizable lead. And they will throw here, looking for more. Throw-in headed away by Garcia. Deplin wants to turn, running out of room. Sends it into the midfield. Van Buren there waiting. Crone Pedersen given space. Working against Mesrar was another new Maverick who has recently checked into the game. Consulting the pronunciation guide again. Matthias Jürgenrud wearing number 18. Also checked in not too long ago. Throwing Dolphins here. And immediately, ball ends up in the attacking third for the Mavericks.
Shot right there was blocked.
Jürgenrud looking to get into one. Had it stifled. That ball from the corner on the cross, knocked away by the Dolphins. Curley lost it off his foot. Serta back into the midfield, just getting there was Crone Pedersen. And now the Mavericks will regroup. Holland gave it up to Serrano, who sent it over the near sideline.
No, like the substitutions coming in.
Dardier and LaRose in for the Dolphins. think it was Dufault and Acri in for the Mavericks, if I'm not mistaken. When play resumes, it will be a throw-in for Staten Island. About 25 and a half minutes to go in this second half. And this conference opener has not gone the way the Dolphins would have liked thus far. We saw last year the Dolphins obviously qualified for the playoffs, but they were in a battle for a playoff spot until the very end of the regular season. They were able to knock off Malloy at home to earn a spot in the playoffs, and then gave Queens, the ultimate ECC champion, all they could handle in the first round, despite the fact that they played most of that game down a man following an early red card. But I said it during the pregame, the Dolphins would like to be in a bit more of a comfortable position in terms of a playoff spot entering that final week. And the next time they will take the pitch for conference play, it will also be here at home, as they will host Damon University. This is LaRose. His pass partially deflected. Sakira finds Asensio Cueva. He wanted Sufaj, but it was taken away and a foul was committed. Long free kick by the Mavericks does find Serta, and Garcia was forced to send it over the far sideline.
And you think about this game also for CSI, Joe. After this, they'll play Georgian Court on Monday, and then they're back into conference play against Damon next Saturday. So they have to try to figure out what they can do in the next couple of weeks to try and fix the mistakes that have happened these last couple of games. Obviously, today they've gotten their shots on target at least, but have just not been able to put one through the net. And they had that issue as well against Bloomfield. And also the other issue for CSI in this game, because they have a lot of good opportune chances for the Mavericks, and they have taken advantage of all those opportune chances. So CSI's got to try to somehow figure out a way to give up those good, scoring opportunities for the opponent that they've given up so far, unfortunately, in this game against Mercy.
And the Mavericks have had quite a few quality chances in this game, and obviously that's not something you can afford on a game-by-game basis. That being said, Dolphins have had their chances as well each of the last two games, and thus far they just haven't converted. Despite that, each of the first two games, just a one-goal result. That certainly could have gone the other way. So there's good from each of these first three games, particularly the first two. And then obviously the bad will be the results. Assuming this one holds, it will be 0-3 for the Dolphins to start this season.
And unfortunately put you in an early disadvantage being 0-1 in conference play as well. So with getting a win, getting a win against Georgian Court not only would be helpful, but then it gives you some momentum going into that next game against Damon.
It's a foot race here. Serta with the ball, met by Dardier. And Dardier had to give it all he had to get there.
That'll lead to a corner coming up for the Mavericks.
That does force CSI to concede the corner.
And you also get the sense with that, the way this game has gone, and then next week against Damon, you obviously do not want to start 0-2 in conference play as well. So a big important game coming up for the Dolphins next week.
I think it's important for the Dolphins to do whatever they can to get things right ahead of that game against Damon. An 0-2 start in conference play, a really tough hill to overcome. Off the corner, the Mavericks do maintain possession. Acri sends it into the box, and that is sent wide of goal by Van Buren. Goal kick Staten Island. Substitutions coming on. Fisherman and Lopez check in for Staten Sufaj and Arslan will head off.
Also, I think as well for the Dolphins, Joe, with them just playing as of Wednesday, only 1 day of rest in between these two games. At least for the game on Monday, they'll have a couple of days off to try to recoup and think about what they could do to fix the mistakes that they've had here today and try to get their first win of the season.
I think the break between the games next week will bode well for them. It's been a very busy first couple of weeks for us here at the CSI Outdoor Track and Field Complex. The schedule for men's and women's soccer in terms of home games, heavily loaded with home games at the front and at the end. In the last week of October into early November, as the Mavericks are flagged for offsides, but last week of October, early November, we have quite a few home games. And during the first 2 weeks of the season here at the College of Staten Island, we've had quite a few home games. That is not the case late in September and through the first 3 weeks or so in October. I don't believe we have more than 2 home games in a week again until the last week of the season. Have to double check that, but I believe that's the case. I should know. I do make the schedule for our staff.
But once October starts coming around, then you start getting into the groove of things with basketball coming up on the horizon. So a lot to look forward to here on CSI Sportsnet with the remainder of this soccer season as well as the basketball season for both the men's and the women's coming up.
So we have the games on the 21st of September. Those are against Damon. After that, we do not have another soccer home match until Wednesday, October 2nd. So we have nearly 2 full weeks without a single home game following the games against Damon on the 21st.
We'll be right back here tomorrow as well.
Then following the 2nd, we do not have another home game for 10 days, and that will be a single home game as the women will take on Mercy University. So early on in October,
Heads up, Joe.
it is not a very busy schedule for us here at soccer. We have home games the 12th, as I mentioned. That's the Mercy game for the women. We're then back for Senior Day on the 19th. And then the following weekend, we have a doubleheader on the 26th. And that begins a busy week for us. We have multiple home games that final week.
Corner coming up here for Mercy.
So after this week concludes tomorrow, we do not have 2 games in a week again until the very end of the season. Yeah. Corner kick here for the Mavericks. That's sent near post. And Joe's team nearly made it 4. He was in front in the midst of 4 or 5 Columbia blue jerseys. He's still got a piece. But it looks like the defense got in there to disrupt it just enough as that was sent wide. Off of a Dolphin. Corner kick once again here for the Mavericks. It travels far post this time. And just beyond Joe's team. As the Dolphins are going to make a substitution here. Checking in will be Allie Dawson. He replaces Miguel Espinoza. About 16:20 to go, a bit more than that here in the second half, but the Dolphins now may begin to make a series of substitutions. Moving forward in this game, we'll see if they begin to clear the bench a bit. That ball sent toward the near side. Fisherman waiting. He's cut off. Serta beat him to the spot. And now Serta has it back. In traffic, he gets it away. Dos Santos for Van Buren. Joaquin Gonzalez Mendoza in for the Mavericks as well, a recent substitution. There's a
can
good
hear-
tackle by Deplin.
You could hear it right there, Joe. Wonder if that picked up on the audio.
That was close by.
Joey.
It's going to be a Mavericks throw, but first, Mercy will make a substitution here. Juan Jose Alvarez Acosta checks in. Long ball into the attacking third, a good one. Serrano gets there, but his left-footed shot is well high.
Good luck tracking that one down.
Good luck to the ball runners.
Great setup right there as well. Almost leading to another goal for the Mercy, giving them a 5-0 lead.
That's one of the few chances where they've gotten a shot off that did not end up on goal and has a quality chance on target, but still a shot from in close off a good ball. And the Dolphins fortunate to escape that, still trailing by just 4. Ball in the midfield now. Lopez waiting for it to come down. Dardier for Benvenuto. And back to Montana. Benvenuto for Montana again. And he sends one across midfield, headed in the air. And that rolls right to Elvestad. He'll take his time with it.
Last look at that last opportune chance right there for the Mavericks. Just going over the net.
Another in a series of good chances for Mercy.
It's now under 13:30 to go in this second half.
That ball sent into the air and onto the foot of Dufault. He's moving in. Strong challenge there by Lopez. But the Mavericks come away with possession. Jurgenrud dispossessed on the slide tackle. And the Dolphins hope to counter here. Gonzalez Mendoza in good position, and it's cleared by Elvestad. That pass intercepted by Dardier. He just got it away. Now LaRose for Asensio Cueva. Benvenuto moving ahead. Has LaRose. That ball knocked down by the Mavericks in the midfield, and they will take possession. Elvestad plays it ahead for Dufault. Now near side. Guzman looking to turn. Jurgenrud, and he goes down. Foul was whistled against the Mavericks. And the Dolphins will wait to make a substitution here. That ball intended for Alvarez Acosta, too strong. Throw in for the Dolphins here, but first, a substitution. Will Trees will check in. Checking out will be Anthony Benvenuto. Deplin up the far side, but nobody home. This is Elvestad. Gonzalez Mendoza just got it away to Acri, and Acri was fouled hard.
That's going to be a yellow card.
Deplin picks up the yellow, and Acri remains down.
Looks like he might have got his clean maybe on his lower leg on that one.
Tell you, I can't fathom taking a shot like that without the shin guard.
I'm subbing in for number.
Come this way, guys. Come this way.
Free kick Mavericks here.
Just hit 11 minutes now in the second half.
Number 8.
Takeaway by the Dolphins. Dawson for LaRose. Good ball for Deplin. Deplin looked across. It's broken up. And it stays in play along the touchline. Deplin now lost it, but waiting is Lopez. Lopez for Asensio Cueva.
Check your shoulders.
Fisherman.
Don't be nervous.
Asensio Cueva now again for Fisherman. Fisherman trying to avoid a challenge. He goes down, and the Mavericks will play it from the corner. Long ball off the foot. Guzman into the midfield. Here comes Serrano. Serrano has a man ahead. That is Alvarez Acosta. He plays it into the box, headed by Dardier. Garcia looking to turn, and now Lopez avoids a challenge, and he moves into the midfield. Lopez for Dawson. Up the near side, Fisherman has Sakira. Sakira is working against Van Buren, and Van Buren with the tackle, able to take it away. A poor decision there on the pass. LaRose now with it. He was being challenged by Guzman. Lopez back to the near side, Fisherman. Fisherman thinking about a cross, and he sends it off of Van Buren for a Dolphins throw. Throw taken quickly and taken short. Asensio Cueva into the box. Sakira met by a pair of defenders. And now a chance here for Serrano on the move. That was broken up by Garcia. Fisherman back to Asensio Cueva. And the Dolphins will reset. Montana for Trees. Trees for Asensio Cueva near side. Now LaRose retreating just a bit. Gives it up to Dardier. Dardier sends it away onto the foot of Garcia and gets it right back. Trees moves ahead slowly. Plays it across midfield. Dawson giving chase, and it's cleared away by Gonzalez Mendoza. That ball almost made it all the way up the hill without rolling back.
I was watching to see if it would go up the hill or not. Thankfully for the ball runner, it did roll down.
Well, Jamel Reynolds of cross country and track and field, very happy that ball didn't
He's
clear
been
the hill.
very active here today.
Getting those steps in. His team with some time off ahead of meet number 2. They opened their season last week. They resume at the end of the month. Flag goes up for offsides here. And it will be a free kick for the Mavericks. Helvestad will take free kick following the flag for offsides. We approach 7.5 minutes to go in this game. Lopez continues to struggle forward and draws a foul. Lopez has done some good work in the midfield these last few minutes, keeping the ball on his foot, trying to get something started for the Dolphins on the attack.
Finish the game strong. Keep playing, Mercy.
Dardier for Trees. Over to Asensio Cueva. Back onto the foot of Trees. Now Montana surveys. And gives it up to Dardier. Gets it right back. Some pressure applied by Joe Steen. Dolphins not being given much along that near side. Asensio Cueva dispossessed. Joe's team redirects, and the pass is broken up in front. Now Serrano Looked like he thought about it. Josteam looking to turn, give and go, and a sliding challenge by Asensio Cueva disrupts the scoring chance. Substitutions for the Mavericks here. Pasigalupo and Saul check in. Check that. Suel check in. We have a great pronunciation guide for Mercy. They just don't have the numbers next to the name, so you have to search. It is in numerical order, if I'm not mistaken. Looks that way.
Well, we'll take any pronunciation because sometimes you get those unfortunate circumstances where there is no pronunciation, so you just having to take a guesstimate as to what it might be pronounced as.
More often than not, we do not receive pronunciation guides. I'd say it's 40-60 we get one versus not getting one. The conference is generally great with that. And I'd say 2/3 of the non-conference games, we probably don't get one. 2/3 of the time. I'd say we have one for almost all of the conference games.
Good. Ben. Up and in. Here we go.
5:20 to go.
Come on, keep playing.
Not much in the way of chances for CSI these last few minutes.
Didn't even notice the clock stopped at one point, Joe. I was under 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to wait until we get to that marker.
I think where you missed it is if the leading team makes a substitution with under 15 minutes, the clock gets stopped. So that would be the reason, and that's probably why you're off.
And now we're back on time.
Just like that.
Trying to make it easier for the statisticians to make sure if there was anything missed that they have the exact time period.
You and I always thinking about our statisticians, as both of us have worked over there extensively. Thankfully, not as much for me over the last several years, but when called upon, I'm always ready.
Well, as you mentioned, our last broadcast, we'll have it this year for basketball on the announcer side, as that's another goal for the Mavericks right there, Joe.
And that's a good ball to set it up. Believe it was Pasigalupo on the assist, and Crone Pedersen. Excuse me, I think that was, again, Josteam. I lost the goal scorer in traffic, but I think that was Josteam again, Nick.
I'll try to see on the replay right now.
It was 9. I thought for a moment it was 5. But you can confirm via replay.
Yeah, it does look like it's number 5. Looks like it's him once again.
Well, 5 is Crone Pedersen. I thought it was 5 in real time. It was 9.
Mavericks goal scored by number 9, Johannes Honkin Josteam.
And Nick, with that, Josteam has 4 goals.
Yeah, I keep reiterating. I mean, 4 goals today, the 2 of the last game. He certainly has earned himself ECC Player of the Week.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Nick. I think we may be looking at a Conference Player of the Week level performance. Not sure there's much doubt about that one, though. I don't have the other scores in front of me. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Well, he certainly has made his case, if that's for sure.
Not often that you see a player score 6 goals in a week.
Just contain. Good. Stand him up. No foul. Good. Contain.
This is Deplin.
Yes.
Now Lopez had it knocked away. Things getting a bit physical now.
Leave it. Drop. Hey, transition. Check your shoulder.
Deplin will take the free kick.
Stay organized. Joaquin, drop a little more.
Just over 3 minutes to go now.
Come on, boys. Everything away.
Deplin's free kick into the wind is snagged out of the air by Alvestad.
Get us up. Eric, come on, Eric.
Dardier heads it across midfield. Lopez got a body on it, and I think they were playing the advantage there. The Dolphins awarded a free kick. LaRose. I think he wanted Fisherman there on a through ball, but Dawson got a foot on it instead. And there was nobody home along the sideline. Throw in Mavericks. Once again, it's headed by Dardier into the midfield. Lopez back to Asensio Cueva. Now Trees for Dardier. Dardier back to Montana.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Come on.
Under 2 minutes to go as Montana plays it over to Trees. Nick, our old friend Mav, wants to know how he can help me once again as I went
Of course.
to pull up the upcoming schedule for Mercy. Up next for the Mavericks will be a game on Wednesday against Westchester University of Pennsylvania. They then return to conference play 1 week from tomorrow as they will host D'Youville University in their conference opener. As for the Dolphins, you mentioned their upcoming schedule before. They're at Georgian Court on Monday, and then we are back here next Saturday
1 minute
for the game against Damon. Now, Nick, I don't know exactly what our schedule looks like. Do we have you next Saturday?
I have to check my own schedule. I have no idea.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
We all have so many places to be.
I know.
Most Saturdays for me are a doubleheader. I don't believe I have double duty next Saturday. So what I'm talking about, for you and I after this, we have another call.
Yep.
We are on the call for Old Bridge Knights high school football this evening.
Different style of football.
Different style of football is right. But once we wrap up here, we head to Old Bridge, New Jersey, where Nick and I are on the call for Knights football via the PDF Sports Network. You can check them out over on YouTube if you can't get enough of us. As for those who are here
10,
for the
9,
Mavericks or the Dolphins,
7,
we will
6,
see the Mercy fans
5,
a bit
4,
later in the season
3, 2,
as the
1.
Mavericks will face CSI Dolphins women's soccer. Fans of men's soccer, we'll see you again here on CSI Sportsnet next weekend. But for those who will tune in for the women's game tomorrow, we are back on the air with an early start time. Kickoff tomorrow at 11 a.m. So we will be on the air at approximately 10:45 or 10:50 tomorrow morning. Again, you can catch that game right back here on the ECC network. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside my broadcast partner, Nicholas Pavona, and you've been watching our CSI Game of the Week. Be sure to join us here on the ECC network all season long. There you can catch all of our upcoming games and all of our past games on demand. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for women's soccer as they take on Georgian Court University.